Hello everyone, we are Group 3 and we will be talking about the problems that can go wrong with the system development lifecycle and how we can minimize those problems in our development. Also, what caused the huge problem with the Affordable Care Act when it was developed and how could they have corrected them. And finally, what happened between Connecticut and Oregon. Starting off, I'm going to be talking about a problem with the solution of the SDLC. Just to remind you, the SDLC is the System Development Lifecycle. As you can see from the graph here, it basically explains the step-by-step process of the SDLC, starting with requirement analysis of the system, moving to the design phase, and then to implementation of the new system, testing it out, making sure everything works well. And then sometimes there's an evolutionary stage where you're updating and maintaining the system and possibly going back into the process again depending on how the system works and if it needs a major upgrade. Here's a graphical representation on how the system development life cycle could have some problems. So as you can see in the top left, it starts out how the customer explained it, and that could be a customer, a manager, employees, like anyone who's giving you feedback on the system. And then it moves forward to the middle. You can see the system analyst design, how they design it, and it's like totally different with the tree hanging there. I don't even think that's possible. And then next to it, how the programmer wrote it. You see like some ropes around the tree and a just board sitting on the ground, not even a swing. Then onto the bottom left, you see how the project was documented, basically nothing. Going over to how the customer was billed in the center for a whole roller coaster, not just a swing. And then at the end, what the customer actually really needed, which was just a tire swing. So you can see it varies throughout the process of what they actually need versus what they think they need, and each person has a different mindset. So that's where some of the problems could arise in the SDLC. So I'm going to talk specifically about scheduling and budgeting difficulties with the SDLC. When a company starts a new project to create a system, that project could be short or long. If it's longer, then it could span over multiple years. When you are starting the project, you have to schedule out how long it will take you and how much it will cost. The longer the project is, the more risk in the schedule to be delayed and it costing more. When you are dealing with the large projects using only SDLC, you can make the project too large for it to handle. Since the SDLC only has the 4 main sections, requirement analysis, design, implementation, and testing, each section is too broad to correctly schedule out each part of the project. So when you're dealing with large-scale projects, the company may not fully understand the system they want to create and what the system may entail. This will cause a delay in the project, making the timeline even longer than originally planned. And when using the SDLC process, it's kind of like a waterfall. So once you're going, in order to fix something or if something needs to be changed, then you got to kind of go back up and start over. So it doesn't always work out as planned. So to fix this problem, I would suggest using agile techniques like Scrum, object-oriented development, and extreme programming. Agile works in a more incremental fashion, where if something needs to be changed or the system isn't working out as planned, you can just go back to the last designated spot and start over instead of starting all the way over like you would do in the SDLC.
A big issue that can take place throughout the various phases of the systems development lifecycle is issue with communication. Communication is really important during the initial phases of SDLC. It is crucial in defining the scope of the project and the details that come with it. Everyone in the team, from the project leader to operations managers, must align goals and interests prior to starting the project and make sure to communicate throughout phases of SDLC. Misunderstandings in the earlier phases of the cycle can lead to bigger issues as the project progresses. Communication throughout the system's development lifecycle can be made easier in numerous ways. There are organizational softwares out there, like 10,000 Feet and Trello, that help with communication in the various phases. They outline the different tasks that need to be dealt with throughout the project, define them, and organize them through organizational boards and diagrams. Active listening can also be really important for everyone on the team. It is important to listen with intent to learn and understand, not just with intent to reply. A good and proactive team environment can also help with the communication issues. Simply having a work environment where people aren't afraid to share their thoughts with others and proactively engage with one another can help tremendously.
Problem with Obamacare. In an investigation that was done by congressional investigators, they obtained taxpayer-subsidized health insurance with fake identities. In this investigation, 11 out of 18 attempts were approved with fake names to obtain Obamacare. These attempts were done online and by phone. One person got denied Obamacare because he didn't provide a social security number. 6 of the applicants were caught by the identification checking system. They continued by dialing the call center, and all 6 were approved. But the others that provide falsified information were approved. Even with all these issues that Obamacare has, it will be very difficult for people trying to commit fraud to gain any profit from this, since everything is paid directly to insurance companies. The solution that I recommend for this problem would be for applicants to apply in person, so that an interview can take place through DHS. This will help so there isn't any falsified information being turned in. Also, this way applicants can provide actual documents such as Social Security card, income tax, and residence.
When the state tried to develop their own healthcare exchange, there are some success and other phases challenges. Connecticut, for example, created their own exchange called Access CT. It was delivered on time within the budget. It was very successful. So Maryland decided to drop their development and license with them. The governor of Connecticut hired Kevin Coneyhan to work on the healthcare exchange. He had more than 30 years of experience in the insurance industry. He was also involved in the Massachusetts healthcare system. For your information, Massachusetts was the first state to regulate health insurance policies and mandate their residents to buy health insurance. It was created in 2007 and now a model for the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. Coneyhan hired Jim Wadley as a Chief Information Officer. He is a Director of Applications Development for Cigna, which is a giant healthcare insurance industry. His job was to hire and manage the contractor to develop the exchange websites and implementations of the exchange information system. On the other hand, Oregon created their own exchange called Cover Oregon. It was a complete disaster. It cost more than $248 million of taxpayer dollars. So they decided to go with the federal health exchange because the system failed to operate. As the result, the U.S. attorney opened investigations on the project. They hired an independent company called First Data Corporations to find the cause. The first thing they noticed was neither the governor or the elected officials was involved in the projects. The project was having problems with divided directions from Oregon Health Authority. The agency have different directions and requirements and always changing. As a result, it confused the software developer. The agency don't have a project manager, so they decide to manage themselves without much experience. They have trouble keeping qualified employees, and their turnover rate was high. Ohio Health Authority hired Oracle corporations to be their vendors, and then they try to do their own programming with not too much success. The lesson here is that if Oregon Health Authority plan the project ahead of time and make all the changes before they hire the developer to make the software, it would have prevented so many problems. They failed to hire someone with experience in the healthcare industry to develop the softwares. They failed to hire project managers that can oversee the whole thing, and they also don't have good experience programming to do the job. So without all these key people, the projects are more likely to fail at the end.